Sydney Morning walked into Hathaway House and smiled. 9 months was a long time to be away, and she was happy to be home. She spotted Danny, the owner and manager of Hathaway, behind the front desk and made her way over. Why she was working the desk was anyone's guess, but knowing Danny, it was because somebody else had had to step away, so she'd stepped in. Danny was like that. But clearly she needed to hire more staff to handle the administrative side. Danny finally lifted her face and looked at her a moment, her gaze confused, before she suddenly lit up. She bounded to her feet, came quickly around the corner, and threw her arms around her. "Oh my goodness, Sydney, you're back!" Sydney fiercely returned the hug. That was another reason she was happy to come back. These people were her family. She didn't have many blood relatives, and the ones she did have didn't remember her anyway. That was the sad truth of Alzheimer's. Her mom had early onset, and even though she was only in her late 50s, she had no clue who Sydney was when Sydney visited her. It just made the visits harder and more bittersweet. There was a part of Sydney that said she didn't need to bother going because her mom didn't know who she was. But then she realized there was nobody else to make sure her mom was getting the care she needed, and that if Sydney didn't keep an eye out for her, anything could happen, and nobody would be the wiser. That couldn't be allowed to happen. She loved her mom. The memory of the woman she had been couldn't be allowed to be forgotten. She stepped back from Danny's hug and smiled. "It's so good to be back. What's different?" She leaned forward and peered into Danny's brimming eyes. Tears? But happy ones by the looks of things. Sydney glanced around the entry and reception area, but everything appeared to be the same. She shook her head and turned back to Danny. "Okay, give. What happened while I was gone?" Danny beamed. "One of the nicest things that could possibly happen," she said in a low voice. She glanced behind her. "I met someone." She shrugged. "He's everything I could have hoped for." Then she added, "And I broke my own rule. He was a patient here." Sydney's eyebrows shot up to her hairline. Not only was that something Danny had firmly said was against the rules, but many of the people here for treatment were not in the right frame of mind for a relationship. Therefore, she was hesitant in her optimism for her friend's sake.